All right. Well, hello everyone. I'm Pete from ETHGlobal, and I am really honored today to be joined by Leilani and Ganesh from Covalent. Leilani and Ganesh, would you like to get started and introduce yourself? Super excited for your talk today.
Thanks, Pete. Hey guys, I'm Ganesh Swami. I'm one of the founders of Covalent. I'm here with Lei. I'm going to quickly start out with an intro to what Covalent is about, what our mission is, what we've been up to, and what our roadmap is going to look like. And then let Lei take it over from there with a more technical demo. So like I said, I'm one of the co-founders. We've been around for a while, 3.5 years to be precise. And we started with this idea that blockchain data is all public, but only on the surface. To truly extract and make meaningful stories from the data, you need a middleware player, a middleware connector that is able to pull out the data for you. And once you have that data, the number of use cases that you can build on top of that are numerous. So we started with that idea. Of course, the first 2 years was pretty slow with the multi-year bear market, not a lot going on, but we persisted. Somehow we had the conviction that this is the right thing to work on for this space. And that thesis started to prove true. In 2020, the company became profitable. We're one of the few companies that are profitable in the space, and our traction just shot up. So we started with some big enterprise clients like Consensus, and then started opening up the platform to more and more developers. Covalent itself started at a hackathon. We had a blog post go out a couple of weeks ago on why hackathons are extremely important to us. I'm super excited about hackathons. I'm a hacker myself. I built the first version of Covalent at a hackathon in 2 days. So we love supporting hackathons. And I would say my biggest regret from the last couple of years is not supporting more hackathons. So this year, I think this is our 8th or 9th hackathon just this year alone. So we're a title sponsor for a lot of the ETHGlobal events and super happy to be there. So the product itself is a unified API. And the idea is that once you have this middleware piece, it opens up a billion possibilities. And currently, I think we have over 300 customers, and these customers can be all kinds of use cases. It can be wallets. So lots of wallets use Covalent to pull out token balances and historical portfolio value and so on. DEXs, we're pretty big in the DEX space. Investor dashboards, if you want to do something with NFTs and show NFT valuation models, you can use that. Taxation is another big deal, especially in the DeFi space, where every single trade is a taxable event, and you want to find the accurate cost basis. Just numerous use cases, all kinds of exotic use cases like these crowdfunding platforms, figuring out if investors are holding on to the investment or just dumping it right away. And so it gets you a better class of investors. Analogy we'd love to say is that we give you a can of tomato sauce and some pasta, and whether you make lasagna or something else is totally up to you. So that's really what the premise of Covalent. The word covalent comes from covalent bonds in chemistry. My apologies for those harrowing memories from high school. But the idea here is we're binding centralized systems with decentralized systems. So our API looks like a regular REST API, but it's a window to the entire decentralized ecosystem behind that API. I think today we index about 12 blockchains and their test nets. And the magic of the Covalent API is that you only have to change one character, literally one character, and suddenly your entire application is able to pull out data from another completely independent blockchain. So pretty excited about the product. The team is about 35 people. We're mostly based here in Vancouver, British Columbia, up in Canada. And happy to take any questions towards the end, but keep the questions coming in. I think we'll allocate a section for Q&A. We're pretty much a pretty open book. We're very active on Discord, on Twitter, on all of social media. We have a very active email list as well, and just love being part of the hacker culture here. yeah, now I'm going to just hand it off to Lei, who will give us a product demo and talk through some of the more technical bits at Covalent. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. My name is Leilani, or Lei. I do communications at Covalent as of recently. If you follow the project, you might have heard of our Alchemist program. That's actually how I got introduced to this company, and I came through the Alchemist program as one of the season 1 or OGs. So you might have seen me as Lei in our Discord if you're familiar there, but that's like the first experience that I had using APIs, and now I'm doing demos. So it's not hard to learn. That's like what really differentiates our product, is that it's like really accessible. So I'm going to be giving like a basic overview of how to get started, and then showing you some different use cases, some of the recent winners of other hackathons for like inspiration and different ideas. And then I'll show you what Ganesh was kind of talking about with like switching that multi-chain thing with one character and being able to like get data on a particular topic, but switch it to multi-chain really quickly. So I'm just going to share my screen. There we go. Okay, so you should be able to see it. So yeah, the first place that you're going to start to use the API is probably going to be the docs. This is like the overview of everything and all of the different reference pages. You can get here from our main website as well, which is just covalenthq.com, but /docs is where we're going to start. So you can sign up for a free API key, and that's how you're going to be able to make calls, which you can actually do directly in the browser, or however else you want to do it in terminal or whatever, how you choose to build. But this is just like the table of contents of the docs page, and I'll go through it really briefly. So you have our overview. This tells you a little bit more about the product in general compared to like different solutions, even though there aren't really that many different solutions. It's kind of us and one other, but and then you can see our campaigns. So this is like part of our involvement with the community. We do regular 1 million wallets challenges, which are wallet design competitions with different partners. And then we do dungeons and data. And this is a good way to get into using the API if you're more analytics minded. So it's like puzzles and finding different data points on different blockchains. And all of these have prizes associated with them. These are our supported networks. So you can go through all of those blockchains that we index. And you can see this in the API references as well. It'll show you the numbers for all of our supported networks, but if you go in the docs, it's just going to give you like a little bit more in-depth overview, and it'll show you like the supported endpoints as well. So you can go through everything here. And then in terms of tutorials and getting started, the Alchemist Cookbook is like kind of the knowledge base for everything. So you have tutorials, how-to guides, case studies, references. Really just like all the information is here for different ways to use the API. And this is super helpful for like beginners. You really don't need to have any prior experience. You can get value out of this. And for developers, one of the really useful things is Primer. So Primer is like an added layer in the API that allows you to filter the responses to make everything even lighter and quicker. But it takes like seconds already, depending on what you're doing. Yeah, so more how-to guides. Here's a link to Alpha Alarm, which is part of what I got involved with in the Alchemist program, which is like DeFi visuals across different chains that we post on Twitter. But this is like a great way to interact with other industry partners and to get people using the API and training. And for this hackathon, probably a lot of people are going to be looking at developer tools. So Primer, as I mentioned, and then this is one of the really useful things that we have, which is the topic calculator. So for different contract events, instead of like scrolling through the events on different block explorers, you can just put the contract address in here, choose the chain and get events. And then this is our project showcase. So for some of the events that we've done in the past, these are like winners, and these are broken down by category. So you have like governance, multi-chain analysis, the wallet stuff, like from 1 million wallets, for example, NFTs, DEXs, and I'll show you a couple of those later. But so yeah, we're going to go to the API references, which is where you can directly make the calls, and I'll show you an example few. So once you get your key, you're just going to put it up here, and it should update So this is my key. Yeah, super easy. And then on the left side here, it's like the contents. So you have your overview up here. This is just going to like give you, again, a basic overview, but you can find all this in the docs. So you can read through that in your own time, but it's pretty self-explanatory. And so are the endpoints. So we have class A and then class B endpoints. Class A are like the actions that are applicable on any chain kind of. So you can use this for anything of all the different chains we index. You can get block heights or like get token holders or get NFT transactions, which is a pretty cool one. And then class B are the like protocol specific endpoints. So for partners, so you have like Aave, SushiSwap, Balancer, Uniswap, Compound, all of that. So if you're doing DEX related stuff, these are super, super useful. And one of the cool ones is network assets. You can see like all the different pools ordered by like balances and stuff. And then you just have pricing endpoints at the bottom, just grouped together to make it a bit easier. So yeah, one of the ones that I'm going to demo really quickly is just the get log events by topic hashes, because I find that this is like the key to everything. This is one of the ones I use most frequently. So you start with a question, and for the purpose of this, I'm just going to do like, say I wanted to look at CryptoPunk sales across different chains. So what I'm going to need to do is find the CryptoPunks collection contract in Etherscan. I usually start on Ethereum just because it's like the biggest and kind of the most familiar to work with. But you can see here that this is available. This is the same contact address on like a whole bunch of other chains. So there's sales happening on other chains. So I clicked on a couple of those and we index some of those chains, which are like Binance and Polygon or Matic. So I'm going to look at like sales in our API across those three. But basically for the log events by topic hash, you are just going to scroll down on this page and you can go to the events. I like using CryptoPunks because the events are like really well labeled, which I can't say is the same for like anything else in blockchain. The data is a little bit messy, but you can still find everything you need. But if I didn't want to scroll through here, I could again put that contract address into our topic calculator and it would show you. But so the hash I'm interested in right here is Punk bot. So these are like the sale events basically. And I take this topic 0. This is our topic hash. So using that in the API, I have it as Matic right now, so I was experimenting, but all I need to do is put chain in, like the ID is 1 for Ethereum, and then I need to copy and paste that topic hash. And you can specify a block range, so like a range of time essentially for the size of the chain, but you can also just put latest and it'll work that way too. And then you can just click try. And I'm loading the one that's the largest right now because Ethereum usually has the highest amount of data. But yeah, so it's going to load directly in the browser. So here I can see the different sales and it's going to tell you like, it's going to decode all these parameters right in front of you. So Punk index, this is like the exact one that was sold. This is the value in int 256. And then this is the from address and the to address. So like the buyer and the seller. And I can just scroll through all of these different sale events. And then as we wanted to look at cross chain like this is how I'm going to do it. So the topic hash remains exactly the same, but just the chain ID changes. So instead of 1, I'll do 56. That's going to give me Binance sales for the same thing. And then I can do Matic as well, or Polygon. Sorry, the name change kind of gets me. But just go like this. Yeah, and that'll updates like right in the browser. So I have it set to just give me like a JSON response right now because that's the default. But if you wanted and you're more familiar with CSVs, you can just type like CSV in here. Actually, I'll just do it right now. And that's going to give you something like this. So you can download that directly from your browser, or you can like copy and paste it into a spreadsheet and work from there. But yeah, it's pretty useful. I just wanted to show one more thing that's like kind of a unique, cool one, which is just the get external NFT metadata. So one of the things that's fun, if you're interested in NFTs, it's kind of relevant because they're like booming right now, but you could like go on OpenSea, for instance, and find something that you're interested in. I chose this one because I like the GIFs and it's like fun to use the API with this. But if you're interested in knowing like the original owner and the history of sales, stuff like that, you can find the collection on Etherscan. And then I found this specific one's token ID. So you can click on this on OpenSea. And if I want to get metadata for this, I just copied that contract address and the token ID in the chain. And that's like all I need to put in. And the response gave me this. So I have like the original owner here, the name of that NFT, the description, and then like the current owner. And this is the cool part that I find. So like the image or the GIF or whatever it is, you can copy this link right into your browser and it pulls up like a full screen of what the NFT is. So I've done this in the past for like new releases and stuff like that. And we've seen people build bots that do like daily NFT sales that basically post the metadata on Twitter with like different visuals. So yeah, if you're creative minded, that's like just a cool feature. But yeah, there's a whole bunch of different use cases here. You can use log events by topic hash for like different like DEX actions like transfers or like mints or withdrawals or things like that. Or you could just get all of the events for a particular contract here. It's really up to you. That's like the 1 billion possibilities aspect of everything. But I'm going to show some of like the recent projects that we've seen come out of here. So this was our most recent 1 million wallets, which is that wallet design competition. So somebody designed this like Spectre wallet, which is really gorgeous. So you can create one here, you can import as well. This also was part of the 1 million wallet submission. And this is like a really creative take on like a wallet display. So I wanted to show it because this person's actually interning at Covalent, which is kind of cool. But you can like zoom in and out here and you can go all around this like weird molecule looking thing, but this actually represents like the wallet. So you can click and you can see for this particular contract address or this wallet, like all of the different tokens they hold and the balances. So this is using like the get portfolio and get token balances for wallet address endpoint. And you can change the contract address here. So like any of these other ones. The loading thing's cool too. I'm just like a sucker for good visuals, but yeah, you can like go all the way up and around and see whatever this person's holding. So that's kind of cool. Another project is this Hestia like NFT marketplace that somebody created. And you can browse through all of these again if you go back to the docs and you just look at like here, the different projects. So like multi-chain analysis, governance, tools, wallets, DEXs, NFTs, etc. So yeah, that's like a basic overview to get you started. I hope that makes sense. I kind of breezed through it faster than I was expecting, but I guess that gives more time for questions and other components of the API. So yeah, I'll stop sharing.
Wow, thanks. No, that was great. Very fun, very exciting, very educational, informative. Does anyone have any questions? Feel free to pop your questions down in the Zoom chat. Or if anyone on YouTube happens to, or any of our live streaming platforms have any questions, don't be afraid to pop there as well. Bradley wants to ask, how is this different from the graph?
I can take that one. So on the surface, it's not different. They're both middleware protocols to extract data from blockchains. The key difference is that we provide a no-code solution. Literally, you can use the product from the browser as Lei demonstrated. You don't have to write a subgraph. You don't have to do any of that stuff. So it's the unified API that helps you extract data. With a graph, you need to sit down and write a subgraph. So if there's something like something like CryptoPunks, for example, you're not able to get it unless you write a subgraph. If you want token balances, there's no equivalent of token balances. So the way Covalent works is we make an exact replica of the entire blockchain. So every balance, every transaction, every log event, everything that's on the underlying blockchain, and we expose that to the API. With a subgraph, it's more of a bespoke experience that you need to build for a specific contract. So if you want to move from CryptoPunks to like CryptoKitties or hash masks, they're all different subgraphs which you need to sit down and write. Covalent makes all of that automatic. So yeah, we were focused on that last mile usage. And like I said, the product philosophy is to use it from the browser. So I would say those are the key differences. Of course, under the hood, it's completely different. And I've given multiple talks on databases and ETL pipelines and the graph and Covalent's philosophy. But yeah. What sort of support is there for relational joins using the API? Unfortunately, there are no joins. So the only thing you can do is you can flatten, you can aggregate, you can project, but there are no joins. And if you need joins, you need to do joins using application code. So I don't know if you'll even add joins. So one of the things that Lei pointed out was Primer. So what Primer is it's a MongoDB style query language to do filter, projection, sort, and aggregations. And even in MongoDB, there is a join, but it's not very performant. So we are just cognizant of the fact that joins can kill performance. But if you have an excellent use case where a join is needed, which is not accessible through application level joins, would love to hear about this because we're always trying to push the envelope of what's possible. The graph uses GRT tokens to pay fees for queries. What's Covalent's pricing business model and what's the goal for the CQT tokens? Yeah, so this is another key difference between the graph and Covalent. Most of our customers pay for the product, and they're all bigger institutions, enterprises, and so we do not expose the Covalent query token to any of those guys. So if you're an enterprise, you want consistency in your data provider. You want to be able to use something like Covalent, just like how you'd use Amazon Cloud or Azure or one of these other cloud providers, which means consistency in budgeting and payments is necessary, and you don't want to expose them to the volatility of the token. So what actually happens? This is not live yet. The product is completely free for the next year. So what will happen is that you'd go and lock in stablecoin, and then the stablecoin is converted to CQT and distributed to the decentralized network on the back end, to the validators and the indexing in the query nodes. So the exposure to the volatility of the Covalent token is to the people who are running the network, and that's the right way to treat your customers, in our opinion. Of course, this is, again, the choices that we've made because we don't want to expose our developers and our users to anything besides stable coin. How do you store the data? So great question. So right now, what is happening is that we copy all of this data into a Postgres database, and then we have the API sitting on top of the Postgres. And it's exactly right. It's the single point of failure that is the reason for us to decentralize. Lots of projects have different stories for why they want to decentralize. Some people want to remove economic middlemen. Some people want to remove the censorship capabilities or the permissionless nature, or single point of failure. For us, what is most important is the single point of failure. So right now, this big, humongous database, which is multiple terabytes, billions of rows of data, is stored on the cloud in Oregon. And that is a single point of failure. Not only that, if you're connecting from Asia, you need to make a complete round trip, which is also slow. And so the next phase, which will come in the next 3 or 4 months, you should definitely hook up with our dev team because we're rolling out the validated program, is where shards of this blockchain are going to be distributed across the globe. So anyone can go in and participate and host a portion of this network. And obviously you're going to be compensated for for providing that service. So I think public utilities cannot have a single point of failure. And that's our vision for the decentralized network. How decentralized is Covalent? Right now, Covalent is completely centralized. So the decentralized pieces comes with how you extract the data And if you read our white paper, there's something called a block specimen, which is a unique innovation we've brought to the space. And the block specimen code will be open source within the next couple of weeks. So it's a matter of progressively decentralizing Covalent. And I would say I'm pretty excited about the roadmap. But there's going to be no changes and no disruption to the way people consume the data. It's just automatically going to be way cheaper and way faster, which everyone loves. These are some great questions. Okay, how long does it take for new data to on some chain to get indexed? So we promise our developers 2-block latency, which means that on something like Ethereum, if the block time is 13 seconds, 2 blocks is 26 seconds. So 26 seconds, we're 26 seconds behind. In a case of something like Matic, which is 3 seconds, we are 6 seconds behind. So that's 2 blocks. In something like Clayton, something like some of the faster blockchains like in BSC, we're literally like 2 blocks behind. So that's our consistency across the board. So what that means is that you can use this for historical balances, you can use this for log events, you can use all of this stuff. But if there's a state changing function, so for example, you're going to a screen where you're asking people to deposit into a liquidity pool, for example, we recommend that you do not use Covalent and directly hit the Web3 node to get the latest balances. That's the only way to keep it 100% accurate.
Awesome. Those were some really, really great questions and great answers to those questions. And of course, just a reminder to everyone, if you do have any follow-up questions after the presentation that you happen to think of, you can always hop into the ETHGlobal Discord and then ask in the Covalent sponsor channel, as I'm sure Lei and Ganesh would be really, really happy to answer your questions there as well. But at that, I don't see any more questions in the Zoom chat. And I just want to thank everyone for coming this morning. Thank everyone for their time. And especially thanks for the awesome presentation by the Covalent team.
Thanks for having us. That was super fun. I'm excited to see all the projects come out of this hackathon. It looks great.
It's going to be hype. I'm so excited. All right. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.